got some chicken and rice for you. Well, for me, I'll be eating it, but you'll watch me eat it. I'm gonna go ahead and put some cheese. I forgot what it was called. I'm gonna put some cheese on it. So, I may have mentioned it in a video from either a couple videos ago. I might have mentioned it just as, I don't know, I don't remember what video or whatever I mentioned it, but basically I'm going to be talking about Abigail today. The movie, I don't know if you guys went to the theaters, if, since COVID, everyone kind of stopped going to the theaters, but I want to start going back to the theaters. It has something to do when I have, extra money to spend on that kind of thing, you know what I mean? As an added benefit, I get to talk to you guys about it, so. So the movie Abigail. I also got Powerade Zero. So, Abigail is essentially about this. It's this movie. If you watch the trailer, don't watch the trailer if you're interested in watching. It'll spoil what the twist is. Well, it's not like the biggest twist in the movie, but the twists aren't really that surprising. It's kind of like I spent like $14 to watch it, right? Get the ticket. And I wish I would have waited to go on a Tuesday, or if I could have gotten a $7, $7, because $14 was a bit much, and also I got a pizza from there as well at the theater, so I spent $26 to go to this movie, which is a lot, but I mean, for that kind of experience, it's great. It's fine, So Abigail, it's about this ballerina that gets abducted, and you find out. So, I'm sorry, I'm skipping details. So, she gets abducted because there's these people who are working for this guy, and they think that they're gonna hold the girl for ransom, and that they're all gonna get a cut of the ransom money. I forget how many people it is. I think there's 5 of them. So they all get brought to this house, and of course it's an old house, where they're about to they're gonna wait for 24 hours to basically that's the amount of time it's gonna take, and they're instructed to minimal contact with the girl. Don't let her see her face. Don't let one person goes in there. That kind of thing. And so it's an interesting concept, and I thought I'd go see it. I wasn't expecting to get scared or anything. I was hoping it's gonna be a psychological thriller, oh, that's kind of freaky, that concept, That's what I was hoping for. It's not that. Besides all the gore, and it's not bad gore, you can tell the bodies are fake bodies. It's a bunch of blood, and she's a vampire, right? So she's biting people's necks and stuff. And so basically, the story goes that they don't know who they're doing this for. they don't know like who this man, not who doing this for, but they don't know who this man is. That is their father that they're gonna ransom. That they're trying to ransom. I mean, I don't know if I explained that right. They're trying to ransom the girl's father. I shouldn't have done quotes. They're trying to ransom the girl's father to get. I mean, I hope that was implied, but I feel stupid for not saying that outright if I didn't. Anyway, but yeah. That's the whole point. And I find out who the father is. It turns out he's this big crime boss, and there's a bunch of legends about him, like his people axing off people. So one guy's like, I want to leave this place. I don't even care about the money. I don't give a shit. So they try to leave, and the whole place is boarded up. They tell this story about how one of the legendary stories is like, apparently there's this hitman who works for the mob boss, was able to kill a bunch of FBI agents and not get caught. And so basically the twist is like, the first twist is, well, oh, again, I'm skipping details. One of them dies. Apparently the first character to die, the character in the show, I forget his name, but the actor's name is Angus Cloud. Apparently he was in Euphoria and died a few years ago, or a couple years ago. So rest in peace to him. But he was in the movie. He was the first to get killed off in the movie. And that's when they tell the story about, and that's why they tell the story of like, okay, all the FBI agents were killed in the same MO that this guy was killed in. One of the guys who helped, you know, he was a driver. He was the driver for the, you know, because when they abducted her, he was the getaway driver. Now, since they're not allowed to tell each other, I'm skipping around details, but I'm sorry, but guys, this is how my brain works. So I can't go like, it's hard for me to go chronologically. Hopefully it's relaxing for you. But if you're having like a hard time keeping track, I'm hoping it's because I'm not my terrible explaining skills, but the fact that you're actually relaxed. So hopefully that's the reason. But anyways, so he's killed in the same MO, which makes them think, oh, that's ooh, his name apparently was like Lazar or something like that. Well, they find out that the girl is the one who killed that guy, and the girl is also the one who killed all those FBI agents. And because all of them, you know, if you're willing to like abduct a girl for ransom, or abduct a person for ransom to pay debts, you're probably into some shady stuff, right? So they're all criminals, and they do this thing in the beginning of the movie where apparently one of the characters is really good at reading people. They're not allowed to tell anything about each other, but the way that you get their backgrounds is by the girl talking about them, like, okay, they size them up, like using details about them, the way you walk, and then all this other stuff. So they all find out bits and pieces about their background because of this particular character in the show, who's kind of like she is the main character, really. And spoiler alert, if you want to watch the movie, I wouldn't recommend you watch the movie, but if you want to, here's a spoiler alert. She's the only one who's left alive. And you can tell that from the beginning because you know she's like the one character with a kid. And it's like a horror flick. Yeah, if anyone's getting away, it's gonna be her, right? Literally, everyone else except but her, the girl dies. Anyways, her and the girl, like the vampire girl. So basically, that's like the overall premise of the movie. I can go deeper into like explaining it, but the issue that I have with the movie really is that none of the twists are really interesting. Not like the concept is cool. I like the concept, but it's one of those movies that they kind of make everything so like plausible and like there's the muscle who he has a past, and it's like super obvious to his character arc, and like there's a girl who comes from money but codes and hacks things like because it's a thrill, you know what I mean? And her probable backstory is she tried to do that stuff to get a thrill out of it, or maybe even get her parents to pay attention to her, but no, they run headphones and that kind of shit. It's like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just none of the characters were particularly interesting. Even Agnes Cloud's character is he hits on the main character in the beginning of the film. No, he hits on the coding chick in the beginning of the film, and she's not interested in him. And he's just being like an obvious weirdo. Like his first line is, while she's hacking, so in the beginning of the movie, she has to hack the security system of the house that the girl apparently lives at, in order so that they have a certain amount of time to get in there, get her, and out before, like, you know, so cops aren't called and stuff like that. Well, now that cops are called, but like, you know, they have time to get her. And so while she's in the middle of doing that, it's like they're in a car because he's the getaway driver, and she's in the car because she can do it remotely. And then she doesn't even pay attention to him, but his first line is he looks over to her and he's like, so you got like a boyfriend or what? The most uninteresting dialogue. And then he acts like an idiot. Scares the coding girl. Because after, like, they learn, once they think that, like, she's, you know, the little girl they have to date, once they know that her dad is apparently this big mob boss, everyone's scared, right? So he goes in her room. Angus Cloud scared her, goes into her room to scare her. The coding girl, and like, it was done for no reason, but literally immediately following that scene, he dies, cries out for help, and then the coding girl goes down there, freaks out about it, but because you don't feel anything for his character, no one had any remorse, no one gave a shit. They're like, oh, it wasn't really meant to be that kind of a movie, you know? It's meant to be a very, like, here's a funny concept, and here's how we're gonna kind of, like, it's just like, if you're bored and have some extra money, or if you want to wait until it's on streaming services, and you're super bored, I'd say give it a watch. But if you're looking for, like, good film, wait for something better. I don't hate the film. But, the only character they build is the main one. The medical, apparently. The main girl. You see her at the very beginning of the film. On her phone is a picture of a wallpaper, you know, your lock screen. And it's her and her son. So you know that's her biggest thing that she cares about. And you figure that's why she's doing this job, is to pay for whatever situation she's in. Her story is apparently she was in the military and got addicted to morphine. And because she got addicted to morphine, she got kicked out of the military and lost her son. But because she was such a drug addict, apparently she became like an underground doctor. And she like got so used to that life. Now she's doing this job basically to pay for the fees and all that stuff. Or maybe not even fees, but like she wants to buy a big house and, like, you know, go to him and be a good mom and, like, come back to him. And she's hoping that, like, doing that job will, like, you know, I don't know, like, help her provide, like, a better life for her son or whatever. But in the film, the one thing good thing that they did is like they had a main guy, had this other guy. I liked his character, but then they made him really weird. They gave I'll explain later, but basically, the guy that points out that the girls, like who the girl's dad is, like the main guy who tries to leave in the beginning. He was talking like they're in a conversation about like the main girl and her son, and he goes, "Yeah, no, that's bullshit. If you just call him and be a good mom to that kid. You don't need like the money and all this. You just need some mom in his life. Like you're coming. That's your excuse because you're scared, and like that's a good thing to point out, because that's like a very common trope in a lot of movies that you'll watch. Is like, oh, I'm doing this job just so I can pay for something and like I can finally reunite my family. But like, you could do all that stuff without the money. The money is an excuse. Like the job is an excuse. Like, you know what I mean? And that cop guy is the same guy who found out that she was a junkie because she like was like the way she was eating her candy and the way that she was walking and like the way basically he was able, when they were deducing people in the beginning, he pointed out that she was a junkie because a cop apparently would recognize a junkie. She's wearing long sleeves, like a long sleeve shirt to cover like her scars from injecting, and the way she's like eating candy, like the oral fixation, like it has to be like a way, not the oral fixation, but like the eating candy in place of drugs or something. I don't know. So yeah, like, I don't want to go through all the conflicts, but those are some of the major ones. Basically, the big twist of the movie, the uber big twist, by the way, the vampire girl kills all of her dad's enemies. Because remember, I think I did say that each one of them wronged this person, wronged her dad in some kind of way. That's why she brought them all together. I feel like I didn't say that, so I'm saying it now. 19 minutes in, let's go. Anyways, she basically, I'm losing my mind. Okay. She brought them all together there because she wanted to eat them all, because they're all of her dad's enemies. Those are all people who have wronged her dad in some kind of way because they all got involved with illegal shit. So she brought them all there to kill him because she kills all of her dad's enemies. That's the point with the FBI agents and all of that. So the big twist of the movie. The entire big twist of the entire movie is the fact that, she kills her dad's enemies because she wants attention from her dad. She wants her dad to love her. And that's juxtaposed with the fact that how the mom has having issues with her son. So it's like, oh, the entire theme of the movie is don't be a shitty parent. You know what I mean? Like, that's the entire, like, theme of the movie, and even though I'm just, like, conceptualizing that now, like, I mean, I understood that, but at the same time, like, when I'm talking back on it, I'm realizing that that's their whole point. But it's blatantly obvious when you think about the movie. That's, like, the whole theme, that's the whole point of the movie. Is that kids want to bond with their parents. So, that's why I say, like, the premise is kind of interesting. The way it's done is with a lot of different tropes. But it isn't something so particularly interesting that I would say you need to, like, give up an afternoon for or anything like that. Not that you would. But, like, let's say, from 2 to 4, you want to waste some time. Or from, midnight to 2, something like that. Huge time waster at the end of your work day, or right before you go to bed. Some shit like that. you know, it's a good time waster show. Or movie, I mean. So that's like my review of Abigail. I think it's pretty solid. Well, when I say pretty solid, like, I like to know if I like the themes. Well, there's something else I didn't mention. So, basically, the guy that brings them there is apparently, like, the guy who apparently hired them. That person works for the little girl and her father, which is obvious at this point. He apparently was gonna try a part of her game, because this all came to her, is that he was going to, so the main cop guy is apparently at fault. He got set up, or he was at fault for those FBI agents dying because he liked the life a little bit too much and all that, or whatever, right? Because he was being like a shady cop, and so he got those FBI agents killed, essentially. Is what I think that they were saying. So, the guy that brought them there, is his name Giancarlo something, I'm sorry. He's the guy who plays the main villain in Breaking Bad. The guy who owns the chicken place. He plays that guy. That guy plays the guy I'm talking about right now. Anyways, so vampires can make other people into vampires. So he says, "Oh, join us, and then we'll rule the whole empire. You know, we'll kill Abigail and her father and rule their whole empire from them." Apparently, he says yes to that. After finding out he was screwed over, then he becomes the main villain. Because then he tries to kill the main girl, or turn her into a vampire or something. At the beginning of the film, you know, the main girl is the only person who's supposed to actually, like, have contact with Abigail. And they apparently had a promise of, like, a pinky promise that she wouldn't let any of them hurt her. And so because of that, at the end of the movie, because they're going through this whole fight and this guy's, like, hungry and crazy for power, I don't know why they made him do that. It felt so out of line with, like, what his values were. Like, he seemed like a shady person, but he didn't seem like he would be willing to go through with something like that. Because those are the same people that want him dead. I think the justification is like, it's because they wanted him dead that he betrayed them, but that fight at the end, it just didn't feel like it made sense to me. I don't know if you guys have watched it. You can let me know what you think in the comments, if you've seen the movie. And if I get anything wrong, let me know in the comments, but yeah, so, like, that guy fucking dies because the two girls team up against him, Abigail and the main girl. Then the father shows up. Abigail says no, she's good, like, leave her alone. They let her go. And apparently she goes, and, like, the end is that the assumption is she's gonna go rekindle shit with her son. And there's, like, a touching moment at the end. But, like, everything felt, I like the actress that played Abigail. I thought she was funny the way that she portrayed Abigail. It looked like she was having fun beating up the adults, because vampires are supposed to be really strong, right? So there's this scene where she throws the big guy, the muscly guy, who's like 6'4" or something. She's, like, apparently stronger than him, and, like, she throws him down, I don't know if it's stairs, or, like, throws him off the balcony or something, and he lands on the ground. And it's, like, it's kind of cute, you know, because I think as a kid, you're like, oh yeah, I wish, you know, not you wish we could beat adults up, you know, like, what do you think Spy Kids is? It's like, oh, it's like about kids having the power. And I think that that's like pretty cool. Even though that's not a good comparison, but I hope you get what I hope you, if you're still awake, I hope you get what I mean. That aspect of just her beating up adults, it looked like she was having really fun with it. And the role, and doing like, she was playing with she's a ballerina, right? So she's doing a lot of ballerina moves in her fighting. And she was also like slow dancing with the dead corpse of the first guy who died. And that is like a comically hilarious scene to watch, because she's just slow dancing with like a body that she ripped the head off of. That's meant to be very shocking and jarring, but I think it's actually meant to be funny, because I didn't laugh in the theater, but in my head I was like, oh, that's kind of funny. I could recognize and see the humor in it. I guess the last thing I'll talk about is when I'm in the movie. Like, in the very beginning, I thought I was going to be the only person seeing that movie that late. Now, there were there were 2 people behind me and 2 people in front of me. I was in the middle seats. And I guess when it's like a 10 o'clock showing, people don't think that like having your phones out or having flashlights out for even like a couple seconds isn't bad, or isn't that jarring, but it's distracting. They did it like twice during the movie, but then they also like were giggling and like talking about shit during scenes, and like I couldn't hear what they were talking about, but I could hear that it was like audible. It didn't like talk over the movies because the speakers are loud, right? But one of my biggest pet peeves is like when I'm watching a show and I'm really trying hard to pay attention and someone's talking about random bullshit. Because when I want to talk about something, I'll at least have the courtesy to like at least pause the movie if we're at home. Or I'll make little quips and jokes, but I don't like to talk throughout an entire movie. I like to just sit there and like enjoy and listen, and then if something cool happens, we can all go, oh, that's awesome, that stuff's cool. But I just really dislike when people constantly talk throughout a movie. It's like, bro, can you please stop? Please stop. But yeah, it was only twice that they did those 2 things, like talking and the flashlight thing. They stopped, and then but you know, when I saw them leaving the theater, they were all pretty young. So maybe it was just some young kids, like 18 or 19, coming to see the film late at night. They had nothing better to do. It's not a big deal. But it's just like me, as a matured 25-year-old man, I want to enjoy my vampire movie in peace. Thank you very much. Alright, so that was my rant. I didn't think this was going to be like a 30-minute long video or so, but that's good. I'm glad I was able to make it this far and like talk about the movie for this long. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hope you guys are relaxed by this, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. And join my Discord. I forgot to say it in the beginning. Join my Discord. I'll see you guys in the next one.